Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Mark and Amber's Kitchen. I'm Amber, and today we're making canned pear pie filling. So, what we're going to want, and I love doing this because, well, I like pie, but I'm not always in the mood for pie, and lately I've been in the mood to make baking and stuff like that. It's getting close to the holidays. And of course having all the pears and apples and everything, and fruit and plums being ripe and ready. So, this is a great way to spend a little time now and save so much time and have a delicious pie later. So I have, if you recall the other day, I made some canned pears, and the syrup with that, after I got done filling all my jars and I had a little leftover syrup, I saved that in the refrigerator because I'm going to use this for this recipe. I also use it for my apple pie, canned apple pie fillings. So what we're going to want to get is 1/4 cup, and you can use just like apple juice or white grape juice, whichever you might happen to prefer. Like I said, I'm just kind of reusing my liquids there from earlier so it doesn't go to waste. Let's see. I'll turn my heat up there. A little bit more. I'm going to let that heat up really quick. And then I've got some fresh ground aniseed here. And we will put in 1 teaspoon. And I like to start that off with the juice, just that way I can warm up the spices into the mix there. And I'm putting just 1/4 cup of teaspoon, and you can put a little bit more if you like. Mark is not overly fond of cinnamon, so I don't usually put a whole lot. And keeping in mind, if you're using ground cinnamon over cinnamon sticks, you have the potential with the ground cinnamon to give it kind of a cloudy mix. And then I'm going to put some fresh ground nutmeg. And if you've never had fresh ground nutmeg, I totally recommend it. Ouch. It's so delicious. The flavor is just so much more alive than the pre-ground. And it really doesn't take a whole lot to grind it up. And I want about 1 teaspoon of that. And there's a lot of medical benefits to nutmeg, but for right now, just to discuss the cooking properties of nutmeg is that it enhances more subtle flavors. So it's not so much as that you're getting the nutmeg flavor, is that you're using it as you can with, say, salt, that helps pick up the flavors rather than and in case you haven't seen, here's what a fresh nutmeg looks like. That's an interesting little herb. It takes about 21 years for the plant to mature before it starts bearing fruit. And then we will go ahead and put 6 tablespoons of lemon juice. Let me turn this heat down. Cups of brown sugar. So we can give it a good little stir. And then we want 4 tablespoons of clear gel. And if you're not sure exactly what clear gel is, it's a modified cornstarch. If you're not sure what clear gel is, it's a modified cornstarch that works as a thickener in lieu of it works as a modified cornstarch in lieu of cornstarch. What it does is, instead of with cornstarch, when you're canning it or using flour, it can separate, cause lumps, be really runny. The high heat can change the dynamics of it, so it doesn't actually work as a thickener. I mean, sometimes it will work, and you know, if you don't have anything else, it'll work as a pinch, or you can do it without adding it and then just add it later. I usually like to, if I have to do it like that, I'll usually get like a little bit of grape juice or apple juice, and I'll go ahead and put the cornstarch in when I'm ready to open it, make the pie, mix it up in there, that way it's really mixed up, and then I'll put that in the pie and then put it in my pie shell. And we'll give this a nice good mix. And this is a caramel pear pie. Sometimes I like to add a couple cranberries to that, and if I do, I will use just 3 tablespoons of clear gel. There's a lot of pectin in cranberries. Or even if you don't want to use pectin at all, you can use the cranberries in lieu, just a little bit more. It'll help thicken it up. And of course I've got my jars going and ready. My water simmering, ready for that. But we're just going to go through the process real quick of this recipe. And I have my pears already sliced up. They had been sitting in excuse me, some lemon water to keep them from browning. We're going to go ahead and get this to a simmer. give it a little stir. Use a different spoon for that. Try not to break up the pears too much. Okay. I'm going to let this sit until we get a little simmer going on here. Put our lid on here so it'll come to a simmer faster. Turn up my stove a little bit and then we'll be right back. Once this does come to a simmer, I will have this simmer for 5 minutes and then I will go ahead and jar that up. Or if I've got a pie crust ready, I'll put that right into the pie and then we'll be right back. Hi, okay, so we have our 5 cups of sugar, teaspoon of ground anise, some fresh ground nutmeg, a half a teaspoon or a fourth of a teaspoon of cinnamon, which again, if you like more or less, you can. Mark is not particularly overly fond of cinnamon, so I just put that much. A fourth of a cup of either white grape juice or apple juice, and like I said, I just used my leftover syrup from when I canned my pears, which was white grape juice and the stewed pears in it before it canned. And I'll provide a link for a video if you'd like to see to the canning the pears. It's going to be a little bit more. It's a little bit more detailed in the canning process in this. I'm just kind of going to show you the process of doing this. Now, as you can see, I've got that coming up to a good simmer, and we will let that simmer for 5 minutes. And that was 6 tablespoons of lemon juice, and that's lemon juice in a bottle, not in a fresh squeezed lemon juice. And our clear gel, and again, what clear gel is it's a modified cornstarch that can handle the high heats of canning process so that it won't break down. Because if you use cornstarch or flour in your recipes for when you're canning, it could clump up or get really, really runny. It just won't set right. And the clear gel, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, the consistency that it is, hot or cold, will be the consistency of what it is when you're actually eating it. Which is kind of nice, you know, sometimes you can do recipes with cornstarch and do it and it gets cold and then you've got like this big glob of cornstarch deliciousness or whatever it is that you might be cooking with. You usually have to dilute it and warm it back up so that you'll get a nice runny juice. You don't have to do that with clear gel. It will stay consistent per each. Now this will go ahead and just simmer for 5 minutes. So we got our time set. And I'll stir this frequently. You don't want the sugar to burn on the bottom. Again, this is a caramel pear pie. So, okay. Got our pears just boiling for 5 minutes. Getting the simmer. Okay. Gonna go ahead and put this in here with the fruit on about an inch headspace for the fruit, and then we want a 1/2 inch headspace. liquid. There we go. Wipe our rims. Always make sure you wipe your rims. I like to use just a little bit of vinegar, but you can just use a little bit of water. Make sure your rims good. And then go ahead and tighten it up, just finger tight, not anymore. And then that's ready to go into the water bath with the others. Well, this is a great way to make your pies in advance and be able to just take 5 minutes and pop it in the oven instead of having to go through all the process when you might be busy, especially during the holidays. Okay, I've got my jars jarred up. I've got an inch, almost 2 inches of water over that, and I'm going to be simmering that in the water bath for 20 minutes. And I had a little bit of fruit and syrup left over, probably just enough for a pie, so I'm going to actually peel up a couple more pears that I have and a couple apples and throw that in there and let that simmer, and then I'll put that in a pie crust and be able to pop that in the oven for tonight. And we'll get to be able to taste how this batch of pie filling is. Well, I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We love to hear from you. Have an awesome day.